Welcome back to Investing and Trading Live. My name is Josh Lilquist, and we were just getting into the different topics on the last segment about the different income strategies with the markets. We talked about getting paid to wait, which is a concept that was new for a lot of people. And we also talked a little bit about futures and Forex, essentially how to use less capital trading and investing compared to the stock market. But also, those two markets are open 24 hours a day,
Right.
which means it gives people the flexibility or the freedom of time to trade and invest whenever they want to. Think about that for a second. If you had a job, whatever that job may be that you do right now, and you said, "Hey, Mr. Job, Mrs. Job, I'm going to come in whenever I want to. I got 24 hours today to do my 8-hour job, and I'm going to do it whenever I want. Maybe I'll do it for a couple hours in the morning. Heck, maybe I'll even do it for a couple hours in the evening. Maybe tomorrow I won't do it at all." Imagine if you had a job that allowed you to do that.
You know what they call those people?
Unemployed.
Unemployed.
Correct.
Exactly.
But the financial markets will allow people to do that because the futures and the Forex market is open 24 hours a day, which means you dictate your time. And that's what a lot of people want, is more freedom of time. If you did miss tickets to that free investing class to be introduced to these techniques and concepts that we've been talking about, just simply text the word investing to the number 210 for 2 seats. When you text in, you're going to get, for one, you're going to get a text right back to find a day. We do these during the week and on the weekends and also in the evenings, so anybody can attend. But also make sure we get you a call. That way we make sure we get the right date that works the best on your schedule, because we know you want freedom of time. And that's a lot of things that I want to talk about here in this segment, Al, is time. We all have that time in our life where we try to build a nest egg, a retirement account, whether it's a 401k or an IRA. And we're striving for the golden years, not the golden girls, Al, the golden years. And that's the time of everybody's life where they want to be able to have that freedom of time to spend time traveling with the grandkids, probably not the kids, but more so the grandkids at that time. And they want to be able to do the things that they've worked so hard for. The challenge is most people don't have enough to be able to have that luxury. There's an issue with retirement savings in the U.S. People just don't have enough to retire, so they're working part-time jobs or to stay retired. They're going back to work. Now, you have two choices at retirement time. One, if you don't have enough saved up in your retirement bucket, you have to go back to work or have some sort of income on the side to get by, is what people say. I want to get by. Well, that's not the time to get by. You want to have those golden years, and you don't want to spend those golden years at the golden arches. So your other opportunity is learn the skills of trading and investing now. So if you are short at that time, have the opportunity to continue to build that during that time, because that, rather than just draw down that retirement bucket, hopefully we continue to replenish that so it lasts longer. People are living longer, so you're going to need more money. Why is it so important to protect what you have before retirement time, not take drawdowns in market drops, but also continue to build that during retirement time?
Well, I think of the components of trading, the way you can approach the markets, and there's a different way you do it for income than there is for wealth and retirement. But I think income has to be learned first. You really can't create wealth until you have the income portion down, because your wealth bucket, the amount of money you have in retirement, the initial amount of money that is growing there comes from an overflow from your income while you're still working. And a lot of people need additional income. And we're seeing that especially with inflation now. So that's the first thing probably that's the most important to learn. And then when you go into retirement, and you need to start doing this before you get there, but if you're working 20, 30, 40 years, you're putting money aside for your later years, you can't let that money all of a sudden disappear. And it does during market crashes, market corrections. Basically, look at that money as disappearing. Your portfolio has to work, has to pull itself out of a hole before you can even start to make a profit. So that's why, again, protection, we talk about this all the time. That is the most important thing. But then the other thing I think that's really important, when you go into retirement, it's not how much money you have in your retirement account or your retirement bucket that's important. It's how much income you can generate off of it. your job income is gone. Now, what do you do? Well, that you can look at that money, and we talked about a couple of the ways that you can provide income. Options is one, futures another one, the foreign exchange market another one.
Great strategies in the market.
Great, almost necessary strategies for you to learn to really get the greatest potential benefit for you. And those are assets that, and by the way, we don't care what you trade. We don't have a bias as to what you trade. A lot of educational sources out there only teach one thing, and that's their bias. That's what they will try to convince you to do. We have instructors, we have professional instructors that teach all of those assets, and we can help put together a plan for you that's better suited for you, because there is a best path for you that might not be the best path for your next door neighbor. So we do work on that, but it's really important to protect what you have, because you don't get a do-over when you're in retirement. It's important to know how to generate income off of your retirement money, so you're not just drawing it down and letting it dwindle. But then also there should be a growth component for you, and that probably is going to be in the stock market or one of those markets that we talk about. But those are the three components of retirement. And the sad thing is we are not only in a retirement crisis, but that retirement crisis is becoming even worse. I looked at a study here recently from Credit Karma and found that 21% of the people aged 59 and above have a net worth of zero or less. In other words, they have debt that exceeds what they have. And then in this study, they looked at well over 1,000 people. So in all generations, 31% said their net worth was zero or negative. That's a crisis. That's a crisis now. That's a crisis coming. And you can really make sure that you don't become one of those statistics, not part of that crisis, by learning now how to generate additional income. How do you use these markets to your advantage?
That's why it's so important, Al, for the people that aren't in that category now, is to not to get there.
Exactly.
That's why protecting those portfolios with different strategies like options that really act like an insurance policy are so paramount to keep what you have.
Right.
Because if you can't keep it, it's very difficult to grow. It's difficult to grow an account if you're in the negative.
Yeah, and I'm going to say the number one thing, the most important thing for you to learn is how not to lose.
Yeah, and I think we have a lot of listeners, Al, that do have some retirement, because we've been having a lot of people that have retirement accounts, have a nice amount saved. Some people have several hundreds of thousands. Some people have several millions. But when they're able to do that, their biggest fear is losing that.
Correct.
And one of the things that the psychological part of it is they sometimes feel they don't want to lose it. So they're okay giving it to a stranger and then having them lose it because mentally they feel better.
Right. Well, somebody to blame.
Exactly.
Than themselves.
That's the wrong way to think. That's what the public typically thinks. And that's what hopefully we talk a lot about here on the show, is inspiring you to think a little bit differently. If the public typically struggles, you rattled off some pretty scary stats there. A lot of people have zero or negative in their accounts. Well, why not protecting what you have, but not be in that same boat? And it's thinking differently. You have to think like an institution. So, think about it this way. Institutions are always profitable in the markets. Heck, we're bailing them out, for God's sakes, right?
Exactly.
So if they're always profitable, they're doing something different than what the public is doing. They're not going on YouTube and watching YouTube videos and learning how to trade. I know a lot of professional instructors and traders and stuff like the people that have been trading for many years, and I don't know one of them that learned consistency out of YouTube. But that's what people go do. Oh, I'm going to go look at YouTube. Who's the source that you're getting that information from? So that's really the key, too, is getting the right information and then building that skill. And that's why we have these investing classes, so we can introduce you to the different, the do's, the don'ts, the good, bad, and the ugly, so you as a person can make your own educated decision rather than having a stranger do that for you. Because who's going to have your best interest, Al, in your money? You or your kids? Right? Both, right?
Yeah, both.
Think about it. So, and that's the key, is being able to have your best interest for you and your family. And that's why these investing classes have been so popular, especially lately. We've had a lot of people coming into these. If you did miss seats recently in the last few segments, I'm going to give away one last set of tickets for that. Text the word investing to the number 210 for 2 seats for this investing class. They're about 2 hours locally here in Bloomington. We're a physical place. We have a state-of-the-art facility, several classrooms where we train people how to trade and invest, and we have instructors that come in and train our students that have been certified to be able to do that. And that's the hardest thing, is finding good traders. We have people that can do that, but to find somebody that can teach it, now that's another story. That's why we have different processes for that. Text investing to the number 210. Al, hit them up with the old OTA tip of the week.
Well, being successful starts with making the decision to become successful. But you can't just talk about how you want to make a change in your life. You have to take action and put in the work. You have to take the first step to actually make a change. And you know what? Maybe that change will be what makes your dreams come true. Don't wait to do it later, because for many people, later becomes never.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, that's really one of those 3 characteristics that you need, in my mind, to be successful in the market. 1, you got to be coachable. Right. You have to be willing to learn not something new, but a little bit different. 2, you have to have some discipline. So once you learn that plan, you learn that step-by-step process, you got to follow it. If you don't follow it, it won't work. Think about a GPS. If you don't follow that person saying turn left, turn right, you're going to be somewhere else than the destination that you want to be in. But the key is, which you hit the nail on the head, is you have to be decisive. Be decisive and take action, especially in your finances. Yeah. Text investing to the number 210 for 2 seats for the class. As always, same time, same place next week. Until then, retire young, my friend.